No motorcycle is without issues, and this is certainly true for a brand new production model. However, the KTM 790 Adventure seems to have had a few more teething problems than other bikes. Now, if you go around and search through all the Facebook groups and other forums, you will definitely find some issues and the solutions to these issues, but this is obviously quite time consuming, and until now nobody has actually compiled them in one easy to find place. That is until this great guy Eric Noyo seems French, created a website compiling all the info related to the 790 Adventure. This doesn't just stop at the issues with the bike and also includes tips, guides, part numbers, installation tutorials. It's basically nirvana for the 790 Adventure owner. But today we are going to focus on these pesky issues which hopefully only haunt the early adopters. So if you own a 790 Adventure or are planning on getting one, stick around. Get your motorbike news in a pleasant way. Hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss the next episode. Welcome back to Long Way Home, everyone. Now, while none of these reported issues are major, unlike someone else we know, some are a little serious while others are more of an annoyance. Oil leaks. There apparently have been quite a few reports regarding oil leaks. Most of these have been proven to not be oil leaks but rather chain lubrication. It collects in the pinion cover and runs down the engine. The chain out of factory is coated with a very fine oil that is very liquid when warmed up, and unless you see your oil level decrease, you shouldn't worry. This has been signaled to happen on the rear left side of the engine. However, there are also unfortunately some proper oil leaks, and they seem to be from the oil sump gasket. A trip to a dealer will sort this out. Coolant leaks. A few reports have been floating around of coolant leaks as well. This was apparently traced down to the thermostat hose clamp not being tightened properly. This shouldn't really require a trip to the dealer, just tighten the clamp yourself and be on your way adventuring. Condensation in the instrument panel. If you see little droplets accumulating on the inside of the instrument panel, this is apparently a known issue. With a faulty TFT, the air inside expands when it's hot, eventually escaping, and when it gets cooler, fresh air from the outside gets pulled in to equalize the pressure inside the panel. When this happens, the fresh air condenses, thus creating the fog. The moment you see this, immediately contact your dealer to get it sorted out. Gear lever linkage screws. There have been multiple reports of these screws untightening themselves, and all of a sudden you are left with only one gear. The sad part, however, is even though the owner's manual tells you explicitly to use Loctite when tightening the screw, this is not done from the factory. KTM doesn't do this, hence the screws undo themselves. If I owned one of these bikes, this would be one of the first things that I would do for peace of mind. Apply some Loctite and torque to 10 nanometers, not more. Residue in the fuel tank. Early bikes had a white residue deposit in the fuel tank. This apparently is wax and it floats so it can be seen when the tank is full. Apparently this is a known issue to KTM and all bikes should have been sorted out by now, but if you notice a white substance floating in your tank, give your dealer a call. Lights staying on. Apparently if you switch off your bike while you're still coasting and not at a complete stop, the lights will stay on and they will drain your battery. This should be solved with a software patch, but until then, if this happens to you, just start your bike again and switch it off while it is at a complete stop. Wonky fuel gauge. This has been reported on early models where the fuel gauge would show empty even though it was not. This was because KTM forgot to configure the fuel gauge from the 790 Duke settings to the new 790 Adventure tank, and this made the software confused. A trip to the dealer will sort this out. Bash plate installation. Apparently part of the decrating of the bike is installing the bash plate, so this responsibility falls on the dealer. The design seems to be a little too complicated than needed, and it's possible for the dealer to forget to install a certain bracket. Check it just to be sure. So all in all, nothing too serious, but there is one major problem though. It's expected for the first year of any production cycle to not go very smoothly. The problem is that the 790 Adventure will have 2 first years of production. From next year, the bike will be manufactured in China, and that will bring over a batch of new problems and issues. 2021 seems to be like the sweet year for getting yourself a trouble-free 790 unless you don't mind a few visits to the dealer. If you own a 790 Adventure, let us know what issues, if any, you have had with it, And if you are planning on getting one, are you still doing that this year? Thanks a lot to Mr. Noyu, sorry for messing up your name, for making this informative website and keeping us all in the loop. Go ahead and make 790adventure.net your new friend and keep an eye out for emerging issues. Well, that's the show, everybody. Give it a big thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. And if you think you've learned something new, consider subscribing or becoming a Patreon to help us make more of these shows. Cheers, and I'll see you on the next one.